We're here with new Incarnate Word head coach Clint Killough with us today. Coach, how's it been settling in? You were just announced recently a few weeks ago, been on the recruiting trail as everyone's seen on Twitter. What's your first few weeks been like as a new head coach?
It's been a whirlwind. A little bit like drinking out of a fire hose. I got the job right before our North Dakota State game, and then kind of went into new era mode on December 17th, and it's been a whirlwind since. Those first couple of days, really, to be honest with you, were really me just spending those times kind of getting over that loss. We were 4 points away from going to a national championship, and obviously a lot of people were able to put eyes on our program, and so it took me a couple of days to kind of let that shake off. Got right to the early signing period. Was able to have some good relationships with some guys that the previous staff recruited. So signed a four guys on the December signing period, and then went full mid-year mode, which people were able to see last week what we were able to do. And then now I'm on the February signing period, so trying to sign that future class of UIW football.
Coach, you guys have done a great job of that. Was there any challenge? Because you weren't announced till after the early signing day was over. You're approaching National Signing Day. How hard was it balancing? We talked before the show, recruiting your own roster while also staying active on the recruiting trail as a new head coach.
It wasn't easy. My fiance got on me a little bit about being on the phone a little bit too much. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. But I mean, you just got to work at it. You got to let people understand that. And I think that for the most part, people understand the difficulties that come with, the timing and things that come with being a head football coach. And I think that just simply showing somebody that you care enough to reach out and give them a phone call or shoot them a text or go see them in person or whatever it may be is invaluable to those relationships, especially with guys on our team, because they see me every day. I get in here so early and stay so late, and I'm wheeling and dealing in and out of the office. So I think that they can appreciate the time that I give them.
What does it mean to you as a UIW alum to be the head coach at your alma mater after you've won back-to-back Southland championships? When you got the call, when you were given the word that you were the next guy to follow two great head coaches and Coach Morris and Coach Kenny, what did that mean to you?
I mean, it meant the world, to be honest with you. This place has done a lot for me, and obviously the surface level reasons make it a no-brainer for me to take this job. But I've learned a lot on and off the field as a player, as a man, as a football coach, and you talk about guys like Eric Morris and GJ Kinney, and those guys have kind of helped mold me into the person that I am today. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen how to handle players, how not to, and the experiences that those guys allowed me to have while being on their staffs. I'm forever grateful for. So, getting this opportunity, it means a lot to me.
And for you, we know you've been on the staff. Listen, the wide receiver development has been outrageous. For you to see Darian have the success he has, Taylor Grimes, I mean, the list goes on and on. What does it mean to you to see those guys getting that opportunity at the next level and being, I believe you guys had two of the top 5 wide receivers in FCS this year in terms of production. For you, what's the key to developing wide receivers and having the success you guys have had through the air?
Well, I think regardless of the position, it's always relationship based. I mean, those guys, we bring a lot of talented guys in, but if they don't trust us and they don't believe in what we're teaching, then it's pretty irrelevant. I mean, those guys are super talented, but I think the fact that they trusted my coaching points, and I think that the fact that I instill those guys with a tool belt. I mean, they're good football players, but I don't ever want to make wide receivers robots, and that's kind of my approach. And I've taken a lot of that from Coach Morris, who's kind of been my mentor in the receiver game, but giving those guys a tool belt and allowing them to be in control of the game within a confinement of what I want them to do and being intentional with my coaching points and things like that. But I mean, those guys work their tails off and they're going to have a lot of success coming their way. Those guys, they mean the world to me. I do this for the relationships. I've been behind a desk right out of college, and I told myself I was never going to do it again. And the relationships that I have with those guys, with the relationships that I have with the Trevor Beggies, the Robert Farrells, that's why I do this. So I'm excited to expand that and make it outside of just the receiver room.
You announced your staff recently on social media, a lot of big time names on that staff, including, Texas legend Kenny Hill and a bunch of other names people are going to recognize. What were you looking for in your staff, and what were some of the challenges as a first time head coach that you had to overcome in building your first staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was looking to hire staff, and to be honest with you, that was probably one of the hardest things for me, and it really kind of touched my soul in a way, just because you're putting men in front of young men that are gonna try to help them chase their dreams. And there's a lot of good football coaches out there, and there's a lot of good football coaches that I didn't hire. And those are decisions that I had to make. But I think what it came down to is each guy, and when I looked at them, what are their superpowers? What set of superpowers does each coach have? And do they have a set of superpowers that can allow for the student athletes that are here and that are going to be coming here to reach their dreams, right? Because if these kids are reaching their dreams, if you're putting Darian Chafin and Taylor Grimes and Kelechi Enyalabechie and all these guys into the NFL, then we're probably going to have a pretty good football team, right? Because, while this is a collective game and this team has to have its successes, there comes individual success with it as well. If they can be the best at their jobs, then this team's going to be the best at its job, which is winning football games and winning championships and getting to Frisco, because that's where the mindset of this program and this team is, and that's the standard that's been set.
And you talk about the standard. That actually was leading to my next question. You know what the standard is. You've won the Southland Championship. You've been to the semifinals, just a handful of plays away from the national championship. How do you look to continue that standard and implement that into your system as you become the face of Incarnate Word moving forward?
Well, I think it's creating an edge. I think that it's being intentional with what we do. We're going to win with intention at UIW. Okay, intentional detail, intentional effort, intentional love, and intentional trust. If we can build on those four intentional pieces as pillars, then we'll win with intention. Everything that we do is going to have a purpose behind it, right? So, and I've made a huge emphasis on the fourth quarter, right? One thing that I picked up on in our North Dakota State game that I really respected those guys for is they held their fours up from the fourth quarter. So as soon as that third quarter ended, to that ball was put down for the next snap of the fourth quarter, their fours are up in the air, and it's a mindset. Okay, so we're going to be 4 points in 4 quarters better this year. That's our mentality, and that's going to be on a shirt, and we're going to attack it every single day, whether it's in the weight room or early morning. This morning they're out there, they're running, and we're going to have intention with everything we do, and we're going to build upon the success that we've created.
How much do you think that experience is going to play into this year? Just even though you guys came up a few plays short, just being in that moment, knowing what it feels like to be right there, how valuable do you think that is for the guys who are coming back to your program and yourself as a coach? What did you learn from this? In my opinion, this was one of the greatest seasons in Incarnate Word history. What did you learn as a coach this year?
Um, what do you learn as a coach? To be honest with you, I'd like to sit down after we get through the February signing period and sit down and write everything that I've learned. Because there's so many experiences. Every year is a new year. And just to go back a little bit, I mean, we've had a lot of buzz about the mid-year transfers that we've been able to bring in, some of the high school guys that we've been able to sign. But I mean, we're bringing back some tremendous pieces. I mean, you talk about guys like Brandon Richard, Sam Latham, Stanley Mark, Jaden Borjas. I mean, we're Sean Holton. We're bringing back some really, really pivotal pieces that know how to win and know how to hold trophies up. So the pieces that I'm bringing around them, you can't ignore the core. The core is what we is. These guys have put in a lot of time and a lot of effort here, and those guys are really important to me. So I think one thing off the top that's one thing that I learned is that the core of your football team is the most important, and you have to covet that and you have to hold that in a special place, and you can't ever let that get deteriorated or anything in that manner.
And you know this, you were on the staff. A lot of media members counted you guys out this year. You
Oh, yeah.
lose Cameron Ward to Washington State with Coach Morris, and everyone said, "Oh, it's over. Incarnate Word,
Yeah.
not making it." You bring in Lindsey Scott. He, in my opinion, just my opinion, the greatest college football season ever at any level
Best
he
player in
just
college.
had. Yeah, I mean, amazing season. You guys have a quarterback battle this year. You bring in Zach Calzada, you sign him, you bring in multiple other transfers, some high school guys. What are you looking for in a QB battle? And as your time on the staff, you saw what happened this past season with Lindsey coming in to replace Cameron. What are you guys looking for in a quarterback to lead this team next season?
Who's going to lead from the front? Who's not afraid of that moment? And you don't just show up on September 3rd or whenever opening kickoff is and just lead from the front. You're not the first guy to run out of the tunnel. I mean, those things are who's first in the weight room. Who's putting their hand down in the dirt when we're running wind sprints? Who's the first to class? I spent yesterday walking the campus just to make sure that our guys are on time to class. They're sitting in the front and they're doing the right things because, not only do those guys have to carry themselves on the field, but they got to do it off of it as well. Everything that you do matters, so, the evaluation will start. It's already started, so you got to be able to lead from the front. You can't be afraid of that moment because, college athletes are walking lie detectors. They see through a lot of the smoke and mirrors and things like that, especially when it comes to leadership, both on and off the field from a player and a coach's standpoint. So, being genuine, being authentic, and being intentional is the things that I'm looking for.
And going into next season, you guys have a lot of expectations. Do you feel any pressure as back-to-back champions your first year to continue the winning tradition at Incarnate Word next season?
Nothing changes. Football is football at the end of the day, man. We have to put our cleats on. We got to put our pants on, our pads, and our helmets. And we got to go execute.
I'll love that answer. And coach, recruiting's changed so much. Me and you talked a little bit before the show about recruiting your own roster, about getting in the transfer portal. The JUCO circuit in Texas is huge as well, along with one of the best high school states in the country. How do you and your staff plan to balance all those different avenues on the recruiting trail? Is there a certain percentage? Is it just year by year? What's your plan to attack the recruiting trail as the head coach?
Yeah, I don't think that you can get specialized in, we're just going to recruit high school, or we're just going to recruit the portal, or we're just going to recruit junior college. I think that you have to recruit kids, regardless of where they're from, that work at your program, that work at UIW. And some of the things that it takes to be successful at UIW, and some of the things that we look for when we recruit really is, do they love football? Do they know how to respond when they're told no? And do they produce productive energy, right? Do they make the people that are around them, regardless, and they don't have to, be loud, vocal leaders. Maybe they just lead by example. Like I like Taylor Grimes, just gets his work in every single day at the highest level. So whatever they're doing, are they putting off energy that makes somebody a little bit better, gets a little bit more out of that rep that they're doing? So those are the three things. Do they love football? Do they know how to respond to being told no? And can they have productive energy? If they can do those three things, and obviously they got to be a good football player and they have to have a skill set, then they're probably going to be really, really successful, which all the guys that we talked about, Taylor Grimes, Darian Chafin, Kalechi and Labechi, all these guys, they all do those things. So.
And in the state of Texas, I mean, we can probably spend 15 minutes on this interview naming colleges, junior colleges in the state of Texas. How challenging is it to recruit such a populated state with all these colleges? And how do you guys separate yourself from all the other schools in Texas that are trying to get that talent? Also, the national schools that are entering the state as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. My perspective is a little bit different. I mean, I think it's fun, to be honest with you. It's fun to compete. I enjoy competing. That's why I'm sitting in this chair, in my opinion. The transfer portal and really just college football and recruiting in general these days you don't have to just be in Texas to recruit Texas. You know what I mean? I mean, we signed a mid-year wide receiver, Jalen Travis, from Butler Community College, who's a Mansfield kid. So there's Texas kids all over. So I think that there's value in bringing Texas kids back to Texas too. Obviously we want to recruit the Texas kids that are still here, but kind of looking holistically, and bringing those kids back to the state, because there's something about this state that people love and they can't get too far away from. I know that. My first job was at Bowling Green, Ohio, and I froze my tail off in the summer and couldn't wait to get back to Texas. So I know what that feels like. So, just putting an emphasis on finding kids that want to come back to the state is huge. But we've also had kids from outside of Texas that have come here and been super productive. Guys like Brandon Porter, who's a California kid that was an All-American at Northern Arizona, has come here and was, despite some injuries, has thrived. So again, it just goes back to can they do those three things? Do they love football, right? Do they know how to respond to being told no? And then can they produce productive energy? So I think that that's the biggest thing. And separating ourselves. I mean, the proof is in the work. I mean, I think that we've had a pretty good resume. I mean, we talk about back-to-back championships, but we also got to talk about 3 out of the last 5. I mean, we also won the conference championship in 2018 and are arguably one of the fastest rising FCS programs in the country, because in 2017, this was a 1-10 program. what a turnaround. What a yeah, lightning in a bottle. And we got to continue to build on that and do those things. And I think our brand of football, we attack on defense and we attack on offense. And kids want to do that because it empowers them to, hey, this is my skill set and this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it.
Man, I love that answer. And the final question, coach, kind of a two-parter is one, what's your message to the team this year about their expectations? And two, what's your message to the fans out there about what they can expect from you as a head coach and what you need from them in terms of support and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, to my team, nothing really changes. I think that just or stating that this is what it is. This is who we are. This is who we've been for the last 5 years, and nothing is changing. If anything, we're going to kick it up a little notch because every year you have your doubters. What is the doubt this year? We lost some guys to graduation. There were some guys to the portal. So I welcome those things and I put it out in front of them. Right. This is what we have. These are the doubts. These are the challenges. But our standard has not changed. So we're going to attack this thing every single day. So I think just putting that out there and letting it be known that this is who we are and this is who we're going to continue to be. And I'll be the first one to kick the door down. Y'all just follow right behind me, and we'll get after it. I think that fans, I'm going to be genuine. I mean, I'm going to be myself day in and day out. I'm a 29-year-old head coach. My last snap of college football was 7 years ago. So I can see things from a unique perspective. I can see things from a coach's perspective. I can see things from the player's perspective. So I'm going to be genuine. I'm going to be intentional every single day. We're going to be fast paced on offense. We're going to get after you on defense and heat it up in the backfield. And we're going to be a fun brand of football, just like we have been. And that's not going to change. And what a great city to do it in. 5 minutes downtown or from downtown and in the great city of San Antonio, it don't get much better.
You are not lying. I know San Antonio. My dad is an absolute huge fan of San Antonio, and I told him, I was like, I got to go to Incarnate Word for a game this year, and he was like, I'm coming. He was like, I'll be the cameraman, the
Let
boom
me
mic
know.
man. Yeah, loves it. But coach, I appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the job. Guys, you do not want to miss Incarnate Word football. There's a reason their whole playoff run was ranked in the top 100 college football games of this past season. Every single game was a must-watch game of probably the FCS playoff history in that Sacramento State win, 66-63 over the Hornets. But guys, for coach here, for myself, and for the Blue Bloods, we are out for right now.